Hey, we're in front of the Ramstein Commissary. It's the biggest commissary in the area. We're going to walk through and show you that they're pretty well stocked when it comes to all the food and goods that you're used to. And it also has all the American brands that you're familiar with. So let's walk through and see what they have, and then I'll kind of comment on what you may not see in the background.
First thing you'll notice when you walk into the commissary is the commissary set up like any other American grocery store. You have the produce in the front, and you go through the middle of the store where you'll have all the basic, dry shelf items, and then finally, as you finish off, you'll get towards the end, and you'll have just some frozen items and whatnot. And the commissary on Ramstein doesn't differ too much from any other DoD type commissary or DECA commissary. It does have a very nice sandwich deli bar. The deli meats are the brands you're familiar with, also with a lot of European style brands that would be a lot cheaper here than they would be back home, as well as the cheeses. The cheeses are of the local variety, as well as the cheeses you're more familiar with back home. So that's really nice, and a nice feature of being in Europe. Produce is, as you imagine, local for the most part. It's not imported from the States. I mean, most of the stuff is sourced from Europe or somewhere closer, more convenient, and it's usually pretty fresh. It's identical to what you're going to find off base. Additionally, you'll also have the bakery. So some of the baked items, you have like fresh baked items. You'll have the packaged baked items, like for example, Rainbow Bread or the other popular brands that you're familiar with, and those are actually baked locally on contract, is the story that I've read in the local newspaper, or the Stars and Stripes, or the Kaiser Latin American. And so you'll never have any issues with bread that's Texas toast, for example, and you open it up and it's got mold because it was actually from the States, and we know bread doesn't last too long, so that's not necessarily a problem. Outside of that, the store has all the packaged non-perishable items, all the brands that you're familiar with. I said multiple times, whether that's cereal, whether it's the baking goods, whether it's chips, soda. Now, obviously, there are supply chain issues from time to time, particularly right now in Corona. Some of these items come up short, but it's not that big of a deal. If you give it enough time or you check on the economy, you might find what you were looking for otherwise. So the commissary system has also adopted the new online ordering system that every other grocery store chain has picked up. So this has been really convenient and progressed along the lines with Corona. And if you're familiar, you can go online, you can pick the specific items that you want by size, by whatever variety it is. In this case, you can order bananas by the specific ripeness and have it all packaged and ready to go, so that when you pull into one of the designated spots, all they do is they load it up on your car, and then you're ready to go. Been really convenient with the Corona situation. So if you're on quarantine, you can have somebody pick up the specific groceries you want without burdening them with having to go through the grocery store and getting your checklist all ready to go. So definitely convenient and much needed.
So after the Ramstein Commissary, there's the Vogelweh Commissary. It has the same brands, all the same quantities that you're used to. It's just a little smaller of a building, and it's a little more neighborhood oriented, or it kind of has that neighborhood feel. It's also located where the Vogelweh housing is, so it's closer to home for those of you that live on the other side of the Autobahn. All in all, not bad as far as selection goes, and conveniently located close to home.
Now, if you've ever been on a military base in the United States, you're familiar with the gas prices being slightly cheaper than they are off base. Now, in Europe, gas is very expensive, so the gas stations on base in Europe are very, very, very affordable in comparison. Gas in Europe is actually tax-free. It works on a rationing system, but the rationing system is very generous, and the average vehicle will not consume the full amount that's allotted in a given time span. Even more interesting is that the alcohol, including actually coffee products, are also rationed, as well as cigarettes. And that has to do with the tax exemption, but the prices in the end are comparable, and you might have a problem if you can actually burn through the rationing system. It's pretty generous, including the liquor and cigarettes, and honest truth be told is most of that stuff's pretty reasonable off base as well. Germany is known for its beer, and the BX and the Shoppette actually don't disappoint. They are pretty well stocked with the local favorites. They even include the Belgian beers, French wines, etc. But what's really neat is that you can actually buy these items in bulk, and they're pretty affordable. They actually beat out the American brands, but the American brands are still there as well, so that's not a problem if that's your favorite, even after you've toured the European palette of beer flavors. DoD has done a great job as far as AFES, DECA, and so on in terms of convenience and affordability, and as well as variety, giving you everything you need from back home at your disposal. So enjoy the economy, but know that rest assured you still have a familiar system that's there to support you and your family while you're overseas.